So, Ramon, I know everybody loves to call us Putin fanboys, and they like to tell us how much we hate Zelensky and Ukraine and I don't know, some other bull crap. Apparently, every time you actually point out obvious facts to people, that makes you either like racist or xenophobic or, in this case, Putin fanboys. So, anyway, I thought I'd show you a couple pics. I thought they were interesting. They came out today, and have a look. Apparently, Zelensky has been in Vogue. He looks nice. There he is. Oh, he looks very distraught with his whatever that chick is. And oh, look, here she is, looking very stylish next to a blown up whatever that is. And yeah, you go. You can see there was a really nice article in Vogue about it. Zelensky's having a hard time. He looks very distraught in this picture. He's like, can you see the worry in his eyes? And here she is. Oh, look at that. She's got all the food, so she's not going hungry. And there they are, holding hands. It looks lovely. So, in the past, I've not actually been able to see a scenario where war leaders get time for the paparazzi, but modern war, new times. And what do you make of this Vogue shoot of Zelensky looking rather dapper and stylish?
Well, I mean, the whole article is actually about the First Lady of Ukraine. Her name is Olena Zelenska, because same in Bulgaria, if you're a man, it's Zelensky. If you're a woman, they replace the Y with an A. So it's the same person, but they just change the name. It's some naming convention there. What I really do like about this particular interview in Vogue is that, and I quote, being First Lady is not a role Zelensky ever wanted to play. And they quote her by saying, I like being backstage. It suited me. Moving into the limelight was quite difficult for me. I'm sure the soldiers on the front line feel the same way. They were very happy to be in the background, but now that they are on the front line of war, things are quite more difficult for them. And I completely understand. What is quite interesting about the Vogue piece, it's basically if the Ukrainian government had $100 million for propaganda, they couldn't have done a better job because in the conversations in Kiev with Zelensky, Vogue describes her as forthright, dignified, elegant, and a subtle promoter of Ukrainian designers. Because as we all know, in war, a very important thing is, but what about the Ukrainian fashion designers?
Well, let's not forget that the Nazis' SS uniform was actually created by a rather known world designer that is still with us today. So, whilst the SS went around and subjugated people and put them in gas chambers, they look pretty stylish, mate. Maybe Zelensky's going for the same thing.
Maybe so, but it's just a weird. I mean, man, the country's at war all the time, right? Like Syria's been there's
We've
war in
heard
Syria for the
that's what
past
we
whatever
hear. That's what
50
we hear.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's war in South Sudan. There's war all over the place. I don't remember ever an American magazine going to Damascus in the middle of Syria and asking the president of Syria and his wife how they are finding the war and what they are doing in terms of sartorial elegance. Because, as we well know, Vogue is an American or British magazine or rag, and a Vogue photo shoot with the president and his wife of a war-torn country during a war is like just so on the nose propaganda. It's hard to believe it's anything else other than that,
Yeah.
right? If this guy was in Syria or if he was the president of Azerbaijan, you wouldn't have this. But
No.
because it's Ukraine and because Putin is, the evil one, hey, we can use all our propaganda one shot and have a story about a woman who doesn't want to. Yeah, sorry about that. Apparently I froze. But yes, there's war zones all over the country, all over the world rather. Very few people make it to Vogue. It actually was an honor to be in Vogue and especially to be photographed by Annie Leibovitz, who is the chief photographer of Vogue. For those sort of people who live in New York and eat caviar and canapes every day, to fly to Kiev to do a story on Zelensky and his wife in the middle of a war-torn country, it just smacks of propaganda like, and there's no other explanation for it. There just is not any explanation for it, other than the fact that this is definitely an American proxy. Simple as that.
Yeah, I don't think this is helping. I mean, if you look at the actual comments on Twitter where when this all went live, everybody was like, what's going on? Like, I thought this is a war zone. Like, we've not actually seen pictures of people posing. Like, look at my distress. You know, I know everybody wants this guy to be the hero of the war, and maybe he is the hero of the war, and maybe he is the hero everybody's saying. But we're not talking about whether or not he is a proxy or whether the Russians are right or wrong. What we're talking about is the optics. The optics of this don't look good because Putin's argument is that this guy's just a proxy of the US. He's not actually fighting a just war. He's just there as an installed puppet. Let's not forget that before Zelensky became president of Ukraine, he was actually an actor. And we need to remember he was an actor. And as an actor, how should we say, he portrayed on TV that he was a president of a country, of Ukraine. And he supposedly won awards because he did that very well in Ukraine. He later became president of Ukraine. Like, we're dealing with an actor. It's not beyond the realms of reasonable for an actor to be an actor. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, of course I understand what you say. Of course. But Vogue would never do this to someone who's considered an enemy of the US. It is as simple as that. Gaddafi had palaces and lots of wives. They never went there. What's his name in Syria? He has a wonderful English wife. They never did anything on her, despite the fact that there was a civil war. It's just weird. It's almost like, how can I explain? It's like taking someone who you know is a bullshitter and then trying to make them look like they're not a bullshitter. But by doing that very thing, a photo shoot and a story, you make them look like even more like they are a bullshitter. I'm sure there's a term for it somewhere in the English lexicon, but I just can't place it. But it really does nothing for me and makes me even more suspicious of Zelensky now that he actually was in Vogue, one of the primary propaganda pieces of the American government and the American diaspora, of course.
There you go, Putin fanboys, mate. That's what we're just going to get. We're just going to get Putin fanboys, but we're just showing you what was online. That's it. I got no comments because nothing I say will be reasonable. And all that will happen is I'll have people going on Twitter talking about how much we love Putin or, I don't know, some other bull crap. We're just showing you. And from my point of view, all I'm saying is the optics just don't look good. That's all I'm saying. The optics don't look good. Like, this isn't the way you do, like, PR. Like, I wouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
But that's me.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it either. Not in the slightest. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Cheerio.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Bye.